Oh, it's that time of year again, where everyone around you seems like they're getting sick. In this episode of Science, Stories, and Stethoscopes, hosts Mike and Tim will be talking about the cold and flu and suggest some things to keep you and your family stay healthy. Take a listen.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to the 2026 edition of Science, Stories, and Stethoscopes. We're your hosts, Mike and Tim, and we're back for episode 4 in 2026. We took a much-needed holiday break, and we're back at it now.
Yeah, so what do we have on tap today?
Today's episode is called Don't Catch It, the Cold and Flu episode.
But first off, let's talk about what's the difference between a cold and a flu. Like, aren't they similar to one another? Like, how do you differentiate between a cold and a flu?
So, basically, they are fairly similar in their signs and symptoms. However, the flu differentiates basically on if you can kind of figure it as a big box truck hitting you all at once. Versus just kind of gradual onset. So the cold, you might get a stuffy nose one day, develop a little cough, may get a little runny nose, and then, eventually get that cough that just kind of lingers. And there's your cold. Whereas the flu kind of just punches you right in the face right from day one. Usually flu onset is between 2 and 4 days after exposure. And you're going to get a fever, usually between 100 and 102 degrees Fahrenheit. The chills, you might get some diarrhea, some vomiting, obviously a little cold, sniffles, runny nose, kind of a mixture of like the cold symptoms. You're going to feel very weak. You're just going to feel tired. You don't want to eat. And you're going to basically feel like a box truck hit you.
So basically what you're trying to say is the flu is kind of more serious than the cold. Unless you're a man, right? There's no flu for man clothes.
Yeah. I will cut that out. I wouldn't say that. Some people, it might, but, women will argue. But, and then there's also the differentiation between influenza A and influenza B. Influenza A seems to be the one that's earlier in the season from like November onset, and it's usually the one that hits you really, really hard. Some people are unfortunate enough to get A and B combined, but usually B is later in the season, probably towards March, April, and it's lesser symptoms, kind of mostly mimicking the common cold. Influenza A, though, is definitely like you're going to get that kaboom right in the face right at day one, and you're going to feel miserable. And in fact, at where I work, it's just been like every day, multiple patients like, you have influenza A, you have influenza A, you have influenza A, just over and over again.
Yeah, what I find really interesting about the flu is that every year it's different because it mutates every single year, which is why it's important to keep up with our flu shots. Correct?
Yeah, and then most people are going to argue that statement and say, well, what did the flu shot do for me this year because I basically got the flu? And yes, but it might be less severe than normal. Basically every year what they do is take a guess on what the strain might be and make it, This year's strain, however, was very powerful, hit people very hard. There has been a lot of hospitalizations and unfortunately a lot of deaths, including pediatric deaths this year thus far. So, what can we do to get rid of it or at least stay away from it? The big things, like we always talk about with the common cold, right? Hand washing, mask wearing, and just staying away from large crowds. Now we just finished the holiday season, right? So the next big holiday gatherings are probably Easter, where it's kind of the tail end of all this. But a big party in between, Super Bowl coming up in the not this weekend, but next weekend or 2. Yeah. So that's going to be one of those days. And we tend to see things. So I worked the day after Christmas, and people came in with symptoms and they said, oh, it started about 2 days ago. So was it Christmas Eve day that you got symptoms, or a day before that, at your office before it closed? Some people came in on New Year's Eve when I worked and were like, oh, symptoms started around Christmas Day, the day after Christmas, or 2 days after Christmas, which would be kind of the time of onset of the flu. So it's definitely like big gatherings put you at, greater risk for those types of infections. But, wearing a mask, washing surfaces, washing your hands, keeping your hands away from your face, basic just kind of stuff that we learned back in kindergarten, first grade, and just continuing that. And I think, if I remember correctly, the year of COVID, we did not see a lot of flu cases because we were masking up already, wearing gloves, masking up, social distancing. So there was virtually no flu cases because there was nothing to spread. Everybody was being very vigilant with social distancing and everything. So that year we saw, I think, little to no flu cases at all. So now that we're more comfortable, we're post 5 years after the COVID pandemic, we're starting to see all that stuff again.
Yeah, it's quite interesting how you mentioned the onset of symptoms being around Christmas, New Year's Eve, but even though symptoms are onset at around that time, the exposure is much earlier because of incubation periods.
Mm-hmm.
Is that correct?
Yeah. So like I was saying, it's like usually it's roughly between like 2 and 4 days. So, give or take, could have been, the day before you left your office before the holidays, could have been Christmas Eve, and you're coming in now on New Year's Eve to see me. So it's that plays a big role into it. Or it could have been your kid who brought it home from school, and then you brought it to the party.
Yeah, because most office parties, most office parties are much earlier than Christmas Eve, because most employers understand that, oh, you want to be home. You don't want to see us during your holidays. So exposure. Excuse me?
Have you gotten a cold or anything yet?
Me? No, because I stay away from people.
I'm in the trenches. That's all I see, and I have yet to get anything. Knock on wood.
And plus, don't forget, you have kids who bring stuff home too, other than their finger painting.
Yeah. No, I'm like constantly wearing an N95 mask at work, and my hands are so dry from all the hand sanitizer I use all day. Just try to keep it minimized with exposure at work, and and wearing an N95 all day from patient to patient sucks, but it's preventing me from catching the disease, and it's preventing me from bringing it home to my kids and my wife. So do whatever I have to do, and it can't come soon enough when we'll see the flu season leave.
Yeah, and also prevents you from spreading it from patient to patient as well.
Yeah, of course. Yep.
So with the flu, let's say, God forbid, I get the flu. What should I do?
Stay home.
Stay home.
No, I mean, it really depends on everybody. So some people will come to urgent care to get seen, to be evaluated. And some people are like, I probably have the flu, and I just stay home and kind of just rest, keep up with fluids. Obviously, you're going to get a fever. You might not, but you probably will get a fever, and just try to keep that fever down as much as possible. But the big thing is just lots of rest, lots of food, lots of water, lots of Netflix.
A lot of Netflix. Get that. Work on that list.
Yeah,
on the Netflix list.
Stranger Things yet? Might want to catch up on that. I don't know.
or start it if you haven't.
or start it, yeah. But and others, they come in, we run a test, a little simple nasal swab, comes back in a few minutes, comes back positive. You have your option. You can do something called Tamiflu. Tamiflu is a neuraminidase inhibitor. Basically, it doesn't cut down the severity or reduce symptoms, but it just basically stops the virus from replicating in your body. So it'll cut it down maybe by a day to, I believe about a day to a day and a half. So instead of having the flu for 7 days, you might have it for 6, you might have, something around the 6.5, something of that nature. But it basically will cut it down. Some people were like, oh, I thought I was going to help me get better and reduce my symptoms. Like, well, the best way to reduce the symptoms are, the cough and cold medications over the counter, self-care, lots of sleep, lots of fluids. I mean, with this, you might have some diarrhea, might have some vomiting. So those are ways you lose fluid in your body. So definitely want to keep up with the fluids. They have so many, there are people who hate just drinking water. Simple thing like Gatorade G2.
Yeah.
That's the Gatorade without sugar. So you just kind of take sips of that hourly. You don't, and some people chug it down, but I wouldn't do that unless you want to vomit.
Yeah, it's very helpful for the diarrhea too. When you get that electrolyte imbalance too, to drink Gatorade or Pedialyte.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's a lot of people that are like, oh, I haven't drank water in like days. And then they come in and they're like half dead. Right. And it's, what do I do? Like, you're at an urgent care, right? So I luckily have the ability to start an IV. So I'll give them usually a bag of IV fluids, kind of, just prime them up a little bit, give them those about 1,000 milliliters of fluid. Generally after that, they feel a lot better. And then just kind of have them go on what we call the BRAT diet, which is basically bananas, rice, applesauce, and toast. And then people kind of deviate from that as they get better, go to chicken soup, chicken broth, and start up the process of getting back to the normal food. Not McDonald's. That'll make you, as much as you love a McCrispy chicken or something like that, a McChicken, you definitely don't want that after you're sick. It might make you feel better per se, emotionally, but not physically.
Yeah. And speaking of things that most people love, avoid drinking coffee as well, because that's that would make you lose more fluid because it makes you go to the bathroom a lot.
And by all means, you want to drink a cup of coffee, go for it. You want to drink, you got a sore throat, you want to drink something hot cocoa, a little bit of tea, coffee, cool, go for it. Chicken broth, the vegetable broth, whatever. However, that should not be your main source of fluids to get, you definitely want something to rehydrate yourself. So you definitely want, plain old good old water, like we were saying earlier, Powerade, Gatorade, Pedialyte. They even have Pedialyte for adults now with crazier flavors. Back in the day, it was just that nasty, very I don't personally like Pedialyte as an option because it's too sugary, and I just sugar is going to make you more sugar is just going to make you more nauseous. So I tend to go for the adult Pedialyte, which is sugar free, or just good old Gatorade or Powerade Zero, as long as it's got no sugar in it.
For sure.
Sure tastes great, but it just, less of a chance of you vomiting again, and which you don't want to do. So there are options for the flu. When you come in, we have something called Tamiflu, which is a neuroaminase inhibitor. And like I said, it reduces the flu by about a day or a day and a half. You take it twice a day for the next 5 days or so. And some people go for it. Some people don't. Some people are like, I'll just kind of wait out the storm. And it's basically just one of those things. You have to wait out the storm. Stay away from people. Usually we say you have to be fever-free for 24 hours without the use of any medications to reduce your fever. So no Tylenol or Motrin or Advil products to help reduce it. Your body has to be fever-free for 24 hours before you can go out back in public. Probably give it a good 3 or 4 days before you actually try to do that. I would probably push it to about 5, just like the COVID rules, but some offices,
just to be safe, right?
Yeah, some offices are a little bit more strict than others and want people back, especially this time of year. Funny because I had a gentleman about a week ago with the flu, actually a couple days ago with the flu, and he happened to work for the Department of Public Works for a local city, and obviously in the Northeast here, we just got hammered with snow, right? So he's like, I'm needed like mucho. And I was like, well, you can go to work, give yourself a day, but if you have to go to work, just make sure nobody's in the truck with you, because obviously that truck, for how many hours you're going to be in there, is just going to be an environment for that person, the other person, to get sick. So definitely, and I said, load up on Gatorade and bring food with you and just eat as much as you can and just keep hydrated and keep popping the Tylenol at the appropriate dosage, and just do your best, and then go home and rest as much as possible as soon as this nightmare snow apocalypse has ended.
Yeah. So I saw something on the internet, or it was some flyer I saw during undergrad. It was during flu season, and it said, "Don't take antibiotics for the flu," because one of the reasons is because the flu is a virus and not a bacteria, which means your antibiotics wouldn't do anything against the flu. And furthermore, if you do take that antibiotic, you might introduce something that might cause antibiotic resistance. So not only are you not treating your flu, but you're also treating that we already got to have a problem in the future with our overuse of antibiotics.
And again, being a medical professional, people come in and they know those big names in antibiotics, and they're like, "I think I need this." I'm like, "You don't, though. I had somebody that was positive for COVID, and they're like, 'Oh, I need an antibiotic.' I'm like, 'No, COVID's a virus. You don't need an antibiotic. If anything, you could take Paxlovid, which is the viral medication for COVID.'" But they're like, "No, I need a Z-Pack." And I'm like, "You don't, though, because you don't have a
back to the Z-Packs."
Yeah, and it's just like you're single-handedly creating a ginormous bacterial resistance by doing so, and you're going to do yourself a disfavor when it comes down to needing that Z-Pack and it no longer works.
Yeah, and then you have to probably switch to some other different spectrum of antibiotics, and then from there you're just creating more issues. So it's basically, you have to be very conservative and very, in regards to antibiotic use, like, do you really need it type situation.
Right. And the best thing to do with this cold and flu is just ride it out. You have so many things. Like, if you go to that cold and flu aisle, in fact, I wish if it wasn't the snow apocalypse, we would have definitely done this. But I would have loved to just gone to right in the cold and flu aisle and show you. There it is literally a huge aisle of all these different colors, flavors, liquids, capsules, lozenges, like so many things to pick from simple cough drops to help soothe your sore throat, lozenges that have menthol or benzocaine. Benzocaine's a numbing agent. Number one, Cepacol has a little like jelly inside the hard candy. You suck on it, it releases the benzocaine. Benzocaine's a numbing agent. It's going to numb the back of your throat. There goes your sore throat.
So imagine us walking through the aisle of CVS.
Yeah, I would have
loved
to
our camera.
Yeah, I would have loved to.
Let's say you have the flu. What's the first thing you're picking out of that aisle? So there's so many different things you can pick out of.
Number one, Tylenol or ibuprofen. I tend to stick more for ibuprofen. I like it better. But Tylenol, antipyretic, pain reliever, it's going to help reduce that fever. Going to help you with the aches and pains. Ibuprofen, same thing. Going to help reduce that fever, help reduce that pain. Keep that at, every couple of hours, like it says on the bottle. Tylenol, 1,000 milligrams, usually about every 8 hours. So it's 3,000 milligrams a day. Ibuprofen, it's 200 milligrams, and you can take it every 4 to 6 hours, or you can take double or triple the dose. So you can take 200, 400, 600, and even 800 milligrams, because that's the prescription strength. And as you get higher from the 6 to the 8, you generally want to do every 6 to 8 hours. And you definitely want to take it with food so you don't get a nice big ulcer in your stomach.
What about the peds? What about the kids?
I am actually, I'll tell you, but I am not pediatric certified. I only do adults in my nurse practitioner life.
So disclaimer right there.
Yeah. But, how
about as a dad? What would you do?
As a dad, always want to listen. I'll tell you this disclaimer. Always listen to your pediatrician. That one, right? But again, fever, Tylenol, ibuprofen, keep up with the fluids, Pedialyte, Gatorade, water. And then, you go from the fever to the sore throat, cough drops. Do you want to give a kid a soft cough drop? Let's stop right there. Are they more, you don't want to do it for a young kid. So this is definitely for some older school age kid. But yeah, I mean, if we stick to adults, but you have that sore throat. So what's next? A cough. People, I don't know. Everybody goes crazy for Dayquil and NyQuil. I can't stand that stuff.
Why?
It's basically just a cough suppressant with the addition of some Tylenol and some sugary, syrupy nastiness. And there are capsules too, but I just don't like Dayquil. I feel like it doesn't work. I would prefer you take Tylenol over the counter at the appropriate dosage, because I believe in Dayquil it cuts it down, so it's not exactly what you would get over the counter. I was trying to look at how many milligrams it has off the top of my head. I don't remember. I have to look. But and then there's a lot of just random kind of ingredients in some of the Dayquils and NyQuils, like allergy medication, NyQuil, a cough suppressant with Benadryl to help you sleep. And people are like, oh, I need the Benadryl. I need the NyQuil to help me sleep. I'm like, just pop Benadryl if you really need that.
Yeah, so basically what you're saying, just stick to the Tylenol and ibuprofen.
Yeah, Tylenol, ibuprofen. If you do need a cough suppressant, one, there are prescription stuff called Tessalon pearls or benzonatate capsules that can help you, and usually take about one capsule 3 times a day, roughly about every 8 hours. Mucinex helps with the chest congestion. Guafenicin is going to help. It's the blue box of Mucinex. That's going to help break up all that mucus in your chest, and it's going to make you cough it up. So you're going to cough it up, spit it out. That's what you want to do. You want to get it out of your lungs, out of your chest. Then they have the green box Mucinex. Has the guafenicin with the addition of dextromethorphan. Dextromethorphan is a cough suppressant. The only problem I see there is it suppresses your cough. What did the blue box do? Help break up the mucus in your chest, and then you were able to cough it up. The green box is going to break up that mucus in your chest, but what else is it going to do? Stop that cough. So you're not going to be able to cough it up. So I prefer the blue one because you want to cough up the mucus. You don't want to suppress the cough. I want to be able to cough to get it. Sure, at nighttime, I want to suppress the cough because I don't want to cough all night, wake up my partner, wake up myself. You don't get a full night's sleep. Definitely don't want to do that.
And plus, as you already mentioned, sleep is very important when you're sick.
Right. Delsum. Delsum's a great one. It's just the dextromethorphan, so just the cough suppressant part. If you have a simple dry cough meaning you're not coughing up any mucus, so it's non-productive. That's going to help you.
So by non-productive, you mean you're not producing mucus?
Correct, yeah. So some people just have that little tickle, dry cough. One of those benzonatate capsules will help if you were seen by a provider. Dextromethorphan from Delsum will help. There's also dextromethorphan and Robitussin. I just personally do not like NyQuil and Dayquil. I just never have, never will.
Not a fan.
Yeah, just not a big fan. And then there are, the majority of the people in this country, in this world, have high blood pressure. A lot of those medications, if you look at like a multi-symptom cold relief, you're going to have, it helps with the cold, it helps with the chest, it helps with allergies, it helps with the flu. So there's going to be like 3 or 4 ingredients in there. Most of the time, one of those ingredients is not good for somebody who has a cold or high blood pressure. So there's a specific brand called Coricidin HBP. That particular one, you go to CVS, Walgreens, Rite Aid, wherever you got its particular spot, and it has all the different types of symptoms you have. It has all different types of Coricidin HBP products to correlate with that. And those are going to help you with your cold and not raise your blood pressure. a lot of the stuff in cold medicine that's going to help raise your blood pressure is a nasal decongestant. And over the counter in the aisles, you're going to find phenylephrine. In the pharmacy business, they call it fake Sudafed, because then there's pseudoephedrine, which if you watch Breaking Bad, you would know you make meth.
If you haven't watched Breaking Bad and you're sick, put down your Netflix list too.
Yeah. Basically, pseudoephedrine is behind the counter and over the counter. It's kind of two weird things, but it is available to purchase without a prescription from a provider. However, it is mandated and regulated by the states and federal government. So you have to provide your license, and it's not like we're just looking at your date of birth. We're looking at your date of birth, but scanning it because they keep track of how many milligrams of pseudoephedrine you purchase. So there's a state and federal mandate on how much you can purchase per day, per week, per month, because they started noticing like people were buying like 96 counts every other day, and that's how they were mass producing meth. So
yes, that's interesting. Did not know that. Did not know they checked that. I only thought they checked the birth dates.
No. So if you actually go to CVS or Walgreens, buy some Sudafed in the pharmacy, and you have to go in the pharmacy to do it. You can't be in drive-thru. You look at the bottom of your receipt, it'll say like your daily pseudoephedrine allowance or how much you've purchased thus far. And then there are times when I used to work back in the pharmacy back in the day where I'd say, I'm sorry, you can't purchase this. You've bought too much. But
I'm sure you're upset a lot of people when you said that.
Yeah. Especially the people that were buying Sudafed, with a spoon and a lighter in their passenger seat.
Interesting. Interesting.
But yeah, I mean, pseudoephedrine is a nasal decongestant. It works great to open up the nasal passages, clear any congestion in the sinuses. It is a stimulant, so it is going to raise your blood pressure, raise your heart rate, make you feel jittery. So I wouldn't take it too close to nighttime, because it's like drinking Vietnamese coffee right at 9 p.m.
Yeah, I don't like. I have a cutoff time for Vietnamese coffee.
Yeah, I mean, some people can drink it all night and go for it, but some people can't, and it gets you very jittery. It raises your heart rate, raises your blood pressure, so you're just going to feel really shaky. And obviously, you want to have a good night's sleep, so I'd probably cut it off around a little bit before dinner. But that's definitely going to help you with the nasal decongestant. And then there's the good old humidifier. Everyone should have one. I tell my patients all the time, do you have a humidifier? And they're like, no. I'm like, everyone's had one since like the 90s.
All right, I'll admit I don't have a humidifier.
Now, back then, you could only buy it at like Stop and Shop, Big Y, CVS, Wegmans, whatever your grocery store is, Walmart, Target. Nowadays, you can get it on Amazon, right? And you can get a cheap one. You can get a small one. You can get one for your apartment, one for your house, multiple for your different locations of your house.
Many different designs too.
Yeah. There's one that you can just screw on like a little water bottle to it, and it uses the water bottle as the water source, and it's more for like a desk or your nightstand. But it's not going to last all night because it's only like a little 8-ounce or 16-ounce water bottle. Yeah. But the big thing with that is you have to know what's in your local water.
Yeah.
And most of the time in your local water, you have added minerals and vitamins. Some have fluoride. Those things are going to clog up the inside and corrode the inside of the humidifier. So what's important is that you used distilled water. So buy a couple jugs of distilled water, get it ready for the holiday or for the flu season, keep it in the house and use that. Those will not corrode it, because the minute you start using, and one night you run out of it and you have to use tap water, not a big deal. Just make sure to wash it with vinegar inside, get it clean, but it will corrode, and your $50 or $40 investment will be ready for the garbage.
Yeah, it's very important for the winter time too, when the air is dry, and then you're coughing, and then your lungs feel dry. So it's
Yeah.
it's a good investment to have on standby.
Yeah,
Because you may never know when you're gonna need it.
right. And you have to think that we're in the heat season now. We're in the heater season. Heat is very drying. So what is it going to do? It's going to dry the air on the inside. So your nose is going to bleed probably a little bit more. It's going to be very dry. You try to blow your nose and it's getting irritated and scratchy because your nose is so dry. Humidifier helps that. Plain old good old nasal saline helps that. Some people actually have like a setting on their heat and it adds moisture. I know the air conditioners do that. They add moisture into the air, or the air conditioners reduce the moisture, but some add it in there too, so it's not just dry heat and dry air that's going in.
Cool, very cool, very cool.
Yeah. But besides that, I mean, hopefully the season ends soon, but we are seeing a lot of RSV cases, respiratory synovial virus, which is very bad in the pediatric and senior population. The flu, COVID has never stopped. It's just kind of trickled here and there. A lot of in the holidays this year, we saw COVID, or you either had COVID or the flu. COVID or the flu. Some people had the double whammy, COVID and flu. But it's definitely still there, so we just have to be mindful.
Yeah. So this time this year when people get around getting sick, and then your kids give you a surprise present.
Kids are back from vacation, from Christmas time. It's colder. They're more prone to get sick now. Obviously, they're in school for 7-8 hours a day. After school programs, sports, they're gonna get it somewhere. Kids are not as vigilant as adults with hand washing, and I can't tell you how many times I tell my daughter, cover your mouth when you sneeze, cover up when you sneeze, cover up when you sneeze, and it's like talking to the wall. But it's something you just have to kind of get used to and continue on with educating yourself. And adults sometimes need
reminders.
But you don't realize that it's kind of those just like subtleties. You don't realize that, okay, I just sneezed and I just touched my phone. Then I just handed it to you to show you something and you just touched it. Therefore, you just got infected. Now you're not even thinking about it. You're going to go like that. And there you go. You just got infected.
The gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah. Well, that's herpes, but that's another episode.
That's another.
No, it's funny because it's just one of those things. You just have to be extra careful. Lysol wipe, Lysol spray, Clorox, whatever you got. Clean your knobs, the bathroom knobs, the toilet handles, the doorknobs, the bathroom and kitchen sinks, your front door, car door, steering wheel, driving shifter, anything that you think, your kids, their pencils, their pens, their just anything that they really touch, calculators, cell phones, remotes. There's bound to be somebody in your house who's got the cold. They're going to be sitting watching TV all day. Make sure that place is bleached.
Yeah, and after going through the pandemic, I'm pretty sure everyone here knows how to wash their hands.
Yeah. And, like we were talking about earlier, the football, big Super Bowl is coming up in a couple weeks. That's a big crowd, usually. If you think you're sick, you got a little cold, one of your kids or your family member sick, stay home. Don't just say because, I'm not sick, I'm going to go to this party, because you could be a carrier and just asymptomatic, and now you're going to spread it to everybody else.
Yeah, don't be that guy.
Yeah,
or girl.
Don't be that guy or girl. Yeah, exactly. You can watch at home too. You might not have Jimmy's 60-inch plasma screen TV, and you only got a 40-inch, but the game will live on. You can still watch it there and enjoy it at the comfort of your own home, not infecting others. But, I was thinking about it too, like air travel now, right? In the flu season, you're in a box for 3, 4, 6, 8, 12 hours with a bunch of people, and not everybody's going to be as vigilant as you, right? So people cough up a storm. People probably go on the plane sick. One, don't realize it, or two, just don't care because they got to get from their destination or they got to get back home, and they're going to spread it. Yes, airlines have HEPA filters that filter the air, but is that air going to get filtered the second that 34C and M34B just coughed? No.
Yeah, and plus the air recirculates in the airplane, so best thing to do, like what I usually like to do, regardless of whether or not it's flu season or not, is just mask up because you just never know because the air recirculates.
Yeah, personally, I've gotten away from using like the surgical masks, just because I've been a nurse for so long, and I just like I'm so done with them because I feel like it just does nothing for you. So any chance I get, I wear an N95. I don't care. I will wear that thing stuck to my face for 3 hours. I did it on a flight a couple years ago to Italy, 8.5 hours. I literally had my dinner. While you're eating, yes, you could have been infected. There's that chance. But other than that, I slept with it on. And I walked through the airport with it on. You can't take a chance, but, simply mask up. If you feel you got a cough, I know it charges money. You don't want to pay that extra money to have a refundable ticket. I wish airlines were a little bit more nice on that aspect, but you got to do what you got to do to protect not only yourself, your others, but family, friends, coworkers, and then go from there. It's the season. We are knee deep in it right now. It's January. We still have February. We still have March, and we still have April. Hopefully by April it starts calming down a bit, but we usually see it maybe the first week or two of May. So the warm weather is upon us soon.
Unless the groundhog has something to say next week.
Yeah.
That groundhog. Anyways, is there anything more we need to discuss?
No. And I think we thank everybody that's subscribed thus far to our channel. If you haven't already, like and subscribe below. Now that the holiday season's over, what are you going to say?
Or wherever I decide to put the thing.
Yeah, you can like it and follow us on Spotify. We're on YouTube. You can like and subscribe below. You can get notifications of when we just upload a new video. Now that the holiday's over, we're definitely going to upload some more. We have an interesting one coming up in February, just in time for Valentine's Day. So stay tuned
for that. All right. So that's it for us. Thank you for being with us today, and enjoy the rest of your week.
Yeah. Mask up. Stay safe.
And don't be that girl or guy during the Super Bowl. See ya.
Yeah.
Signs, Stories, and Stethoscopes is for entertainment and educational purposes only. For medical advice, please consult your medical provider.